Welcome to the Musical Homestead. My name's Jenny. It's time for music theory. I'm ready for theory today. Are you? Let's get started. Welcome back to our elementary theory track. Remember, our elementary theory track is for our kindergarten through 5th grade learner. If you're in 6th grade through adult, you need our Theory Musica Track, and I'm going to link that in the description below. Today we are embarking on a rhythm journey. It's a little tricky, but we can do it. We are doing Unit 4, and because Unit 4 has so much information in it, we're going to divide it up into 3 different videos. Today we're going to do Unit 4A. We're going to be doing pages 14, 15, and 16 out of our textbook, The Fundamentals of Piano Theory. As always, make sure you've already done Units 1, 2, and 3. Make sure you have the textbook. I'm going to link that below if you don't have that yet. And make sure you have your thinking cap on because we're going to embark on our rhythm journey. I'm excited! In music theory, there's lots of different sections that we have to learn. So in Unit 3, we learned about the notes. The notes are fundamental. We need to know what every line and every space of the grand staff, what note name it is. Today, we're going to learn about something that's just as foundational, and it is called rhythm. Rhythm is how long or short every note is held for. Now, in Unit 1, we learned a half note gets 2 counts, and we learned a lot of different kinds of notes. Now we're going to learn about something that we're going to see at the beginning of a lot of our music that's going to tell us really important information about rhythm. What we're going to see is something that's called a time signature. Time signature. And the first time signature we're going to look at is this, 2, 4. You're going to see 2 numbers that are going to be on the grand staff. The top number tells you how many counts are in a measure, and the bottom number tells you what note gets 1 count. When we see 2, 4, we know that there are going to be 2 counts in a measure, and 4 means that a quarter note is going to get 1 count. So this is our time signature. It tells us something very important. It tells us about the rhythm of the piece. And the top number 2 tells us that there are 2 counts in a measure, and the bottom number 4 tells us that a quarter note is going to get 1 count. Now that we know in 2, 4, we're going to have 2 counts in a measure and a quarter note gets 1 count, we can go ahead and write some counting out. In 2, 4, here are 2 measures of counts. Do you remember what this was called? Bar line. Good job. And what's this called? Double bar line. Good job. So we have our 2 measures separated by a bar line, and we are going to count 1, 2, and then we get to the bar line, we start over again with our counting. And this is 1, 2. We can't keep counting 3, 4. The bar line tells us that we have to start back over at 1. Now, if we were to clap this rhythm, let's go ahead and listen to the clapping. So we can do it together. I'm going to count. I'm going to say 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 1, 2. Let's try that one more time. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 1, 2. Whenever we see rhythm, it's really important to start counting the rhythm so we know how long we're going to hold each note for. In your book, they give you an example that looks a little bit like this. Something is missing. Can you figure out what's missing? You're right, the bar lines are missing. So here's the deal. Sometimes they'll give you examples like this, and you have to figure out how many counts fill each measure, and then you have to draw bar lines in yourself. So if we look here, we're in 2, 4, 2 counts in a measure. I have a half note. How many counts does a half note get? It gets 2, so I'm going to go 1, 2, that fills my measure, and then I want to do a bar line. Now next, I have a quarter and a quarter. So this is going to be 1, 2. Is my measure filled? Yep. I'm going to put another bar line. And then our last measure, I have a half note. Does that fill that measure in 2, 4? It does. So this is correct. I have 3 measures in 2, 4. The next time signature we're going to talk about today is 3, 4. Now in 3, 4, the 3 tells us there are 3 counts in a measure, and the 4 tells us that a quarter note gets 1 count. 2, 4, and 3, 4 are similar because they both have the 4 on the bottom. So in both of them, a quarter note is going to get 1 count. Where they're different is that 2, 4 has a 2 on the top. So that means there's going to be 2 counts in each measure. 3/4 has a 3 on top, so there's going to be 3 counts in each measure. It is very important that before you start any piece, you look at the time signature. That's going to tell you the rhythm and how you're going to count out each measure. Now let's go ahead and look at our example in 3/4, remembering that 3 means there are 3 counts in a measure, and 4 means that a quarter note gets 1 count. Our first measure, we have 3 counts, 3 quarter notes and a bar line. We have a half note, which gets 2 counts, added to a quarter note, which is our third, and a bar line. And then our third measure has a dotted half note, which gets 3 full counts. Now you might look at this and say, Jenny, why do you have lines between some of your notes and not the others? What I like to do is when a note gets more than 1 count, I put a line there, a dash, so that reminds me I'm going to hold it for a full 2 counts. Or over here, I'm going to hold it for a full 3 counts. That's something that helps my brain remember that I need to hold that note when I'm playing it or when I'm clapping it. Let's go ahead and try it together. So we're going to say 1, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Good job. I see the dashes. I know I have to hold it. So let's try it again. 1, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Here's our no bar line example in 3/4. Could you imagine if you saw this in music? It would be so confusing. You wouldn't know when to count. Oh, rhythm would not be easy. It would make it really, really hard. Let's add bar lines. We're in 3/4, so that means 3 counts in a measure. We're going to start with a dotted half note. How many counts does a dotted half note get? 3, correct. So 3 will fill that measure, and we're going to do a bar line right there. Now we have 3 quarter notes. 1, 2, 3. Have we filled the measure? Yes, we have. Let's go ahead and put a bar line there. And our last measure has a half note, which is 1, 2, plus a quarter note, which is 3. So that fills the measure too. Here we have 3 measures in 3/4. Last time signature I'm going to talk about today in this lesson is 4/4. Now 4/4 is going to tell us the 4 means 4 counts are going to be in a measure. The bottom 4 means that a quarter note is still going to get 1 count. So we've done 2/4, 3/4, and 4/4. All of those have the 4 on the bottom, which is telling us a quarter note is getting 1 count. And the top number is going to be a little bit different each time. Make sure you're paying attention to that. I also wanted to point out sometimes in music you might see 4/4, or you might see a big C like that. And the big C is going to be as big as this 4/4. The C stands for common time, and 4/4 is our most common time. And so when you see a big C in your music, don't get confused, just know, okay, that means that I am in 4/4, I am in common time. Now let's look at our 4/4 example. Remembering 4/4, there are 4 counts in a measure, and a quarter note gets 1 count. So in this example, I have quarter notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I have my bar line that fills that measure. I have 2 half notes, 2 plus 2 is 4, that fills that measure. My dotted half note, which gets 3, and when I add a quarter note, that gets to 4 and fills that measure. And then my whole note, which is going to fill our last measure. So I have 4 measures we're going to clap today. I also have all my dashes between the notes that are going to be held when I'm clapping or when I'm playing. If you're ready, let's go ahead and give it a try. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then my double bar line means I stop. Great, let's try it one more time. Let's start back at the beginning. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I like to still count when I have measures like this. Instead of just saying 1, 3, I like to count all of these. They're placeholders. In my brain, I know that I'm not going to speed up or slow down when I'm counting. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So I always keep a nice, steady, even tempo. Here's our no bar line example for 4/4. 4/4 means there are 4 counts in a measure, and a quarter note is getting our 1 count. We have a dotted half note. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we need a bar line because we filled our measure. Do you remember how many counts a half note gets? 2. Good job. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Have we filled our measure in 4, 4? Yes, we have. So let's go ahead and draw a bar line. And our last measure has 4 quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Have we filled our measure? Yes, we have. So here are our 3 measures in 4, 4. Before we finish today with our unit, I wanted to go ahead and talk a little bit about these 4 different notes and how many counts they get in our 3 different time signatures we talked about today. In 2, 4, 3, 4, and 4, 4, our quarter note is always going to get 1 count. That's what the 4 means. When our quarter note gets 1 count, that means our half note is getting 2 counts. Our dotted half note is getting 3 counts, and our whole note is getting 4 counts. This is true in any time signature that has 4 at the bottom. When you have a 4 at the bottom, this is going to be true. When the number changes, these numbers are going to change. For right now, we need to memorize when 4 is on the bottom, these are how many counts those notes get. Well, that was a lot of information. That was quite the adventure into rhythm. Time signatures are your friend, and you're going to have them in all your music. Every song is going to have a time signature. Trying to remember the term time signature is a little tricky, so here at the Homestead we do it this way. We say time, like where your watch is, signature, like when you sign your name. So when we look at the term time signature, we say time signature. We also have to remember what the top number and the bottom number means. So that means we have to practice, practice, practice. The first thing you need to do is all the pages in your textbook. Next, we have some fun games. We're the Musical Homestead. We have some fun games that are going to help you with this time signature and with your rhythm. So I'm going to link those in the description below. Play them. Watch the videos over and over again. One of them is a fun block game. Get some blocks. Figure out how you can do your own time signatures at home. It's going to take a lot of practice. Ooh, now I remember there's an app that we like to do too, and I'm going to link that in the description below. Remember, the more time you spend doing these things, the faster you're going to learn it and the better you're going to get at playing the piano or whatever instrument you're playing. Before you go, do me a favor and click the subscribe button and turn on the bell so you don't miss any of our fun games and activities. And I'm excited for the next time because we're going to go onto our theory journey through rhythm. We're going to have a lot more fun learning some more rhythm things. Until I see you next time, have fun learning music.